And now I'm going to show you how to create a questionnaire activity. Una po munang gagawin natin ay i-click muna po natin ito to turn the editing on. And then after that, on the concept builder section, mag-a-add na po ako ng activity or resource. Let's click this one. And now let's go to activities. And then let's click questionnaire. Ito po ang itsura ng icon ng questionnaire. So ano po ba ang questionnaire? So ang questionnaire po allows you to construct surveys using a variety of question types for the purpose of gathering data from users. Ginagamit po natin ito for survey purposes. And now, let's click this. Okay, for the name, let's just type sample questionnaire. So you can type in the topic or the possible content of your questionnaire. And for the description, you can add instructions kung tungkol saan yung ating questionnaire. So you have here the option if you want to display the description on the course page. Pero let's just leave it blank for this time. For the availability, you can set kung kailan magiging available at kung hanggang kailan magiging available yung questionnaire na ginawa po natin. For the response options, we have here the type. And so this selection po will help you select whether the users or the participants will be allowed to respond once, daily, weekly, monthly, or unlimited number of times. We have here respond many, respond once, respond daily, respond weekly, and respond monthly. So, gagawin ko lamang po na respond once. So for the respondent type, we can set it to full name or anonymous. And then we have here, students can view all responses. Pwede po siyang after answering the questionnaire, after the questionnaire is closed, always, or never. For this option, you can specify who can see the responses of all respondents to submitted questionnaires. So, isiset ko lamang po to as default after answering the questionnaire. And then we have here send submission notifications. I'm just going to leave this default. Save or resume answers. Ito po yung if you're going to allow the participants or your students to go back dun sa pagsagot ng kanilang questionnaire. Halimbawa po hindi pa nila natatapos yung questionnaire, they can just save it and then resume afterwards. Pero since I want them to finish the questionnaire in one sitting, I will click or I will select the no option. And then for this one is allow branching questions. And if hindi naman po tayo mag-set ng branching questions, you can just choose no. Pero if magkikreate po tayo ng branches of questions, you can choose yes. And then we have here auto numbering. If ever magkikreate po tayo ng conditional branching of questions, you may disable the auto numbering. Pero since nag-no po tayo sa branching questions, select na lamang po natin yung auto number pages and questions. So on the submission grade, you have the option to choose no grade or the grades on the drop-down box. But ito pong grades na ito na nasa drop-down box ay hindi score per question. But ito po yung magiging grado sa kabuuan ng questionnaire if you want your questionnaire to be graded. For the content options, we're just gonna set this as default. So we have here common module settings. We have the option to show on course page or hide from students. So let's just choose show on course page. For ID number, this can be used for gradable activities. Since hindi naman po gradable yung questionnaire na ginawa natin, hindi na po natin lalagyan ng ID number. Then we have here the restrict access. These are the following restrictions that you can add to restrict your users or participants sa pagsagot ng questionnaire. So we have here the activity completion, kung saan kailangan muna nilang matapos yung naunang activity before nila ma-access ang questionnaire activity na ginawa po ninyo. We have here the date, we have here the grade, the user profile, and then the restriction set. And then the activity completion, to track the completion, pwede nating iselect yung show activity as complete when conditions are met. So that you'll be sure na talagang nagsagot po ang ating participant or ating mga students. So students must submit this questionnaire to complete it. And then we have here also an option for expected completed date. Pwede nating i-enable yan. Pwede nating i-disable. And then for the tasks and competencies, I'm just gonna leave this as default. So now let's click save and return to course. Okay. So tingnan po natin ang nagawa nating questionnaire. So here it is. So let's click this one to add questions. To add questions sa ating questionnaire, i-click po natin yung add questions. And now we have here the different question types. We have your check boxes, date, drop-down box, essay box, label, numeric, radio buttons, rate, text box. If ever you want to add an additional instruction or content, we have here text box and the yes or no question type. And now let's add a checkbox question. So first, let's click the add selected question type. And after that, you may add your question name. Question name is actually not required because the question name is only used when you export responses to CSV or Excel format. If you will not export your questionnaire to CSV or Excel format, you may not include a question name at all. But you may add a question name as your guide as you add questions on your questionnaire. So for this question, I want to ask my students their grade levels. For the response, I will click yes. And then for the question text, what is your grade level? So let's say they are intermediate students from elementary school. So let's type in grade 4, grade 5, and grade 6. And then let's click Save Changes. As you can see here, you can see the first question that we created. To preview your question, you may click the Preview tab. And there we have it. What is your grade level? We have your grade 4, grade 5, and grade 6. Now let's add another question. Click the Question tab. And now let's add another question type. Let's click Date. And then add selected question type. Let's say, for example, I want to know the date of their birthdays. So let's just type birthday here. And then, when is your birthday? Then click Save Changes. As you can see, we have the second question type. Let's preview it on the Preview tab. This is what it looks like. They may enter the day, month, and then the year. Now let's add another question on the Question tab. So let's choose drop-down box. Then click Add Selected Question Type. Let's say I want to ask their favorite subject. What is your favorite subject? Say it's Mathematics, English, Science, Filipino, MAPE, Araling Panlipunan, EPP, or ELE. ESP for Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao, or Mother Tongue. And then let's click Save Changes. So here we are. What is your favorite subject? Let's try to preview the question. So what is your favorite subject? So we have here the drop-down box. And here are the options or the choices. Now let's add another question from the Question tab. So let's choose essay box. For the essay box question, I will leave the question name blank and default on the response is required option. And then for the response format, we have here HTML editor and plain text. For HTML editor, if you will allow them to use pictures or to add pictures or emojis on their answers, you can choose HTML editor. But if you want them to answer in plain text only, you can just choose plain text for them to type their answers. So I'm going to choose HTML editor. For the input box size, you have here options for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 to 40 lines. I'm going to choose 10 lines. And for the question, I'll be asking them to describe themselves. And then after that, click Save Changes. And now let us preview the essay box question that we created. Click Preview tab. And then here's the essay box that we created. As you can see, since we chose the HTML editor, they have the option to insert an image, add an emoji, add a link, and format their answers the way they want it to be. And now let's add another question. On the choices for the question type, you can see a page break option. We can include this to open another set of questions on another page. So let's add here a page break. Then add selected question type. As you can see here, there's a page break. Then let's add another question. We have here a label. Add selected question type. A label question is not a question, but a short text which will be displayed to introduce a series of questions. So if you have additional instructions, or this might be used to give an overview of next set of questions. If that's the case, choose label. So let's just type sample label just for you to see what it would look like when we add it on our questionnaire. You can actually customize it the way you want it to look like by choosing these options at the top of the box. You can make it large or bigger. You can add pictures, emojis. You can insert or edit an audio or video file. You have here the recording of audio, recording of video. And if you click this button, you have a lot of choices to choose from. And now let's click Save Changes. So here's the sample label that we added. And now let's click Preview. As you can see, since we added a page break, it created a new page for you to add next set of questions. Now let's add another question. We have here numeric. For the numeric question, we use this question type if you expect the response to be a correctly formatted number. So let's say for the question name, you can just type in glasses of water. So response is required, yes. Maximum digits allowed is, let's say, 10. The question is, how many glasses of water do you drink in a day? So let's click Save Changes. As you can see here, here's the question. And let's preview it. How many glasses of water do you drink in a day? Okay, and then after that, let's add another question, radio buttons. So let's add selected question type. So let's just say favorite color. In this question type, the respondent must select one out of the choices offered. We have two options for radio buttons alignment. We have vertical and horizontal. Later on, I will show you the difference between those two. So let's ask the question, what is your favorite color? Let's say it's red, orange, yellow, blue, green, and violet. If they have other favorite color, you can add another option. You just type in exclamation point and the word other. And then equals to another color. And then colon. This is the word that you want to see as one of the options. And then click Save Changes. So this is what it looks like. So as you can see, we have here the option for red, orange, yellow, blue, green, violet. And we have here an option for another color if they have other favorite color. Now let's see if we change the radio button's alignment from vertical to horizontal. This is what it looks like. Now let's add another question type, which is the rate. Then click add selected question type. We have here the NB of scale items. NB of scale items is the number of items to be used in your rate scale. So let's just choose 5 as the default number. For the type of rate scale, we have here normal. We have here NA column. We can choose this if you want an NA column to be added to the right side of your rating scale. And we have here no duplicate choices. You can choose this if you want to prevent duplicate choices in each degree column. And we have here Osgood to create a question of the Osgood semantic differential. Now let's just choose normal. So let's ask the question normal. For the question text, let's say rate the usefulness of your gadgets on your studies on a 1 to 5 scale, from 1, which is not useful, to 5, which is very useful. For the possible answers, since we are just using a single line rating scale, you can just enter a blank space or a short label for your rate question. And for the named degrees, you can just type in text to display for rate values instead of the number. But since we are using numbers to rate their answers, we can just leave this blank. This is what it looks like. So rate the usefulness of your gadgets on your studies on a 1 to 5 scale, from 1 not useful to 5 which is very useful. So we have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now let's add another question, which is the text box. And then add selected question type. For the text box question type, you just have to enter the input box length and the maximum text length of text to be entered by your participant or by your student. Let's just leave this as default. So let's say question text is sample question, and then let's click save changes. This is what it looks like. Let's click preview. Here is the box, or here is the space wherein your students can type in their answers. And then let's add another question. For the last question type, we have here the yes or no question. Let's click add selected question type. A yes or no question type is a simple yes or no question. So let's just type here, are you happy today? As you can see, there's no possible answers below because this is a simple yes or no type of question. Then let's click save changes. Let's preview once more. There you have it, the yes or no question type for your questionnaire. For you to have an idea on how someone will see the course, click the drop-down arrow on the upper right side of the header beside your profile picture. Then click switch role to, then choose student. This is what it looks like on the view of your student. So this is the sample questionnaire. Click answer the questions. So what is your grade level? When is your birthday? Let's just say 2014. And what is your favorite subject? Let's say it's mathematics. Describe yourself. I'm a happy person who likes dogs. And then we have here, since we included page break, it added another page for another set of questions. So let's click next page, and there you have it. How many glasses of water do you drink in a day? Let's say 10. What is your favorite color? So you can say red, or another color if you like. Say it's white. Rate the usefulness of your gadgets on your studies on a 1 to 5 scale, from 1 not useful to 5 very useful. Number 2. Here's the sample question wherein they can write their answers or type in their answers. Are you happy today? Yes. And then submit questionnaire. And there you have it. This is the questionnaire activity. Thank you.